Welcome to the live, guys. It's been a while since I've gone live. I just hadn't have the time to do any of this. But welcome if you're just joining. You can feel free to ask any questions you might have about investing, personal finance, money, stuff like that, because that's what the page is all about. Like I said, I haven't been able to go live in like a long time because I've just been busy and preoccupied with other stuff, to be honest. So I haven't had the chance to really do much of anything. We're going live is concerned. But like I mentioned, if you have any questions about investing or personal finance, if that's something you want to learn about, or if that's something that you're interested in, then of course you can ask any questions that you might have. Can't promise that I'll be able to go live every night like in the past, but I'm trying. I'm trying to find a way to kind of balance my time and balance all the other stuff that are going on and I have going on. And I really like making content for social media. I really like teaching people about investing and teaching people about personal finance. I just sometimes don't really have the time to do everything at the same time. But I definitely know that there is like a big interest amongst people that want to learn about investing and want to learn about personal finance because I get like a whole heap of messages, like a whole heap. But I'm trying to see how best I can be more active and consistent. It's easy when you don't really have much going on in terms of stuff that you have to do, but when you have a child and then when you have like work and then you have like classes and stuff, it gets really difficult to kind of balance everything at the same time. And then another thing is you have to kind of balance investing in yourself in terms of educational opportunities, in terms of your job, in terms of what you got going on with your life, and then you have to balance it with social media stuff. So it's a bit tricky, but like I mentioned, if you're just joining the live, definitely follow if you're not following. My page basically covers all things investing, personal finance, things like that, because those are the things that I'm interested in. Those are the things that I believe can benefit a lot of people. For many people, if they get better with their investing, if they get better with their personal finances in a lot of scenarios, it could make life a lot easier for them, because for most of us, the thing that we spend most of our times doing is working at a 9 to 5 to earn money to actually be able to like do other stuff. So for most people, if they were in a position where they had control over their personal financial situation, it would make it a lot easier to kind of enjoy life. Thanks for the follow, Crypto Kid, and thanks for everybody that's like in the live. I appreciate it. Question: my portfolio is down by 500K. What's the next move? All right, so great question. Don't at me. So I would say the first thing you have to do in a situation like that is to look at the investments within your portfolio, because it being down isn't necessarily a bad thing. Because, for example, if what you have in your portfolio or the investment you have in your portfolio, let's say you have one stock, right? Just to keep it simple, and that stock is down 500K. Let's say there's nothing fundamentally wrong with the business. When you look at their financials, things seem fine. The company is still growing. The business is still a going concern, meaning it's still operating. Chances are this can actually be an opportunity to dollar cost average into that position. What we mean by dollar cost average into a position is that you invest more at a lower price, and what that will do is it will reduce the average price that you would have paid for the stock. And what that kind of does is that minimizes what your losses look like on paper. So for example, let's say you bought one stock for $1, and let's say that the stock goes down 10%, right? So now the stock is valued at 90 cents, right? Let's say that you buy one more unit of that stock at that 90 cents. Now, what you have is you have two shares at $1.90, right? So if you divide that $1.90 by the two shares that you have, you find that your average price is now going to be 95 cents. Whereas if you had just held that one stock at $1, you know that your average price would be $1, because it's $1 that you spent per unit of stock, right? So dollar cost averaging can be a way for you to build out your position, for you to minimize what your losses look like on paper. And chances are, if it's a good business, a good company that can rebound, that can grow in the future, what you find will happen is that over the long term, which investing should always be considered in the long term, over the long term, it's likely that your position is going to recover. And if you are somebody that was dollar cost averaging during the time that the stock price was down, it means now you have a better average price. So when the stock ultimately recovers to the original price that you bought at, and maybe even go above that, you stand a chance to gain a lot more money, right? So you have to kind of look at your portfolio. You have to kind of look at what is going on in the market where your investments are concerned, and you have to make a decision based on that, because it being negative, especially in the short term, doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, right? A lot of us tend to view things like that in isolation, meaning that you only look at the fact that it's down and you don't look at anything else, right? So you have to consider the other things that are going on in the market. So it doesn't have to be a bad thing. Look at your positions, whether it's stocks or bonds or whatever you're invested in, right? Look at your positions and see if it is a case where you can dollar cost average to, like I said, reduce your losses on paper. So yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah man, crypto, a long time I get to go live, like us going live used to be a regular thing, and we used to draw like quite a decent sized crowd, like upwards 50, 60, 70 people. So it had been something we did in the past, but like I said, I've just been busy with a lot of other stuff. So yeah, yes, I will take this with a grain of salt. Well, the thing about it is I've been in positions down at me similarly where I've been down a lot too. And like I said, I just dollar cost average and just be patient, because like I said, investing is something that you should view in the long term. And they always say don't invest money that you cannot afford to lose, right? Because the thing about investing is that there is some level of risk that is always going to be associated with it. It's just that different investments carry different level of risk. Some investments are riskier than others, right? But risk and reward goes hand in hand. So if you want to be rewarded, or if you want to benefit in some shape or form, you have to take some level of risk. Okay, two of the stocks was hit with a suspension, and then when it was up again, everybody sold. Oh, Jaja. I would stop me see suspended. When they look on the market, what do you miss one stock suspended? Was it like Learn, Eddie Focal, or one of them company there? I saw got like a suspension for not posting the financials. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember the specific stock, but I get you. Sometimes too, you have to kind of consider when to kind of just accept your loss. Hey Mel. Hey Melanie, it's been a while. What's up? Sometimes you just have to kind of take a loss, because you have to look at opportunity cost too, and sometimes you sitting in a position that is negative for an extended period of time, especially if you have no conviction in that investment anymore. You don't believe that the company, or you don't believe that the investment will be able to recover where you can make back your money and then some. It might make sense to cut your loss and move to something else, because I know many people have been in situations like that. Position is negative for a long time, not doing anything for them, not helping them meet their financial goals or accomplish what they want to accomplish. And what they do is they just exit the position, go into something else, and they make back the money that they would have lost and then some, right? So you have to kind of know when to do that as well. That's the thing about it. Good evening. Can you lose when you buy dividends? Well, you don't really buy dividends. Dividends is one of the ways that you make money from stocks, right? So using the Jamaica Stock Exchange, there are two ways that you're going to make money from stock market investing. So either you're going to make money from capital gains, or you're going to make money from dividends. Capital gains is when you sell the stock for more than what you bought it for. So if I buy a stock for $1 today and I sell it for $2 tomorrow, I would have made $1 in profit. That $1 represents a capital gain to me, right? The other way that you make money through stock market investing is through dividends. Dividends is when the company or the business chooses to share some of its profits to the investors within the business, right? And remember, when you invest in a company or when you invest in a business, thanks for the roses, Ricky, bless up, bro. when you invest in a business, you become part shareholder of said business or said company, right? And your shareholding is equivalent to how many units of that stock that you own. So let's say that a company exists and they have 10 shares outstanding, right? And let's say you own 5 of those shares. You, by extension, now own 50% of the company, right? Because there are 10 shares outstanding, you own 5. Now, how the dividends come in is from time to time, the board of directors, they'll meet. And if it's prudent, if it makes financial sense to provide value to shareholders, they might determine that they're going to pay out a dividend, which is a disbursement of cash to investors within the business. So let's go back to the whole 10 shares business. Let's say there are 10 shares outstanding, you own 5 of the shares, so you own 50% of the company. Let's say the company decides to declare a dividend of $10 per share. So if it's 10 shares and it's $10 per shares, you know the total dividend is going to be $100. Now, because you own 50% of the company or 5 of those shares, you know that $50 of that dividend or 50% of the dividend would be attributable to you as a shareholder. So that is how the dividends come in. And of course, this disbursement of cash is paid via either check or via electronic transfer to that investor. So yeah, you can lose money investing in stocks that do pay a dividend. Just like with any investment in general, there are risks associated with that. Risk and reward goes hand in hand. So usually the greater amount of risk you take is the greater potential for reward. You have to kind of try to balance that. That's kind of the name of the game, right? Trying to balance risk and reward and trying to maximize the return you can make. Thanks for the roses. Don't at me. I appreciate it, bro. I open an investment account, but I have no idea where to go there. Depends on who you open the investment account with. There are different brokers, right? So you have JMMB investments, you have NCB Capital Markets, you have Sagicor Investments, etc. Depending on who your broker is, you may use a different platform. So for example, if let's say you open an account with JMMB, you would access your investment account via the JMMB Moneyline website or the JMMB Moneyline app. So it's one out of the two that you use to access your account. Let's say you open your account with NCB Capital Markets, right? You would access an investment account either through JTrader Pro or the NCB Wealth Connect app or the NCB website. So you have 3 options with them. And then some brokers don't have their own platform and you have to use JTrader Pro. So for example, Sagicor Investments, they don't have their own platform. So what you would use in that case is JTrader Pro. Thanks for the follow. I'm DJ A. Thanks for the follow, Margot. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for following. So basically, just to kind of sum it up, whoever you open the investment account with, they may use a different platform to access said investment account. You just need to sign up for whatever platform that they have, and then from there you would basically be able to access your investment account once the market is open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. No, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Sorry. I think 9 to 5. 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. you'd be able to buy and sell stocks Monday through to Friday on the JSE. So you just basically need to sign up for whatever investment platform your broker has. If you open an investment account with JMMB, do you need a checking account? You don't need a checking account, but it makes things easier in the sense that it's easier to put money into your investment account. Because if you have a checking account with them, they're both going to be visible on the Moneyline website or the app. So it's easier to transfer money over to the investment account. Not saying if you have a checking account elsewhere, you can't do that. It's just that it's going to take longer because you know that it's an interbank thing or an inter-institution thing. Whereas if you had a checking account, if an ATM is near to you, with JMMB, you can always deposit the money there and then just transfer it to your investment account, get it there basically instantly. Whereas if you're transferring from another bank, you have to wait on the ACH time limits to do that, or transfer time limits, I should say, to do that. So it's not mandatory. It's just that it can make things a bit more convenient or easier. So yeah, typically wherever I have an investment account, if it's like a banking institution, I have a bank account there too. It just makes things easier, and just gives me a bit more flexibility is what I'd say. Sorry, just trying to catch up with the chat. Yeah, man, viable. Bless up. You're welcome. How you get on US making? US making in what sense? You might have to specify a bit more, white line. That's for JMMB Moneyline also. For what, Shanice? For the investment account, yeah. So if you open an investment account with JMMB, you know that you can access the investment account via the Moneyline website or app. And yes, from either the app or the website, you'd be able to buy and sell stocks on the market 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through to Friday once the market is open. It's not like a holiday or something. But yeah. Because I've been having one, I don't understand how to go about purchasing the stock. If it's JMMB that you use, it's actually pretty simple to do it through the app. When you log on to the app, you just go to stocks, and then you'll get different menu options at the bottom. You'd click on the option for I think it's like buy stocks or something like that. But when you click on it, it basically takes you to a page where you can buy and sell stocks. It makes you select your account, you select the particular stock you want to buy or sell. It takes you to the other screen now where you put in the quantity, you put in the order, the order type. You put in, if it's like a limit order, you know that you have to set a limit price. If it's a market order, you won't have to. So yeah, it gives you basically the options. I think I have a video. I think I have multiple videos. I have a video about how to do it on the Moneyline website and how to do it on the app. So it's somewhere on the page. So if you probably scroll on the page, you should find it. What about investing in real estate? How would you go about that? You can invest in real estate directly, or you can do it indirectly. Directly would be you actually going out there and purchasing like a property, like you buy a house or you buy a piece of land and you invest in real estate that way, by either buying and selling properties or renting out those properties and getting rental income. So that would be the primary form of real estate investing probably most people are familiar with. Then you can invest in real estate indirectly by investing in derivative type investments, meaning that you might invest in a stock that does real estate stuff. So for example, on the JSE, you have like Capreit, for example. Their business is all about real estate. So investing in that stock would give you exposure to real estate investment, right? Or real estate investing. That's one way. You have things like mutual funds or unit trust managed investment products that can also be in real estate investing as well. So that can be another way too that you get access to investing in real estate. If you are able to invest on more sophisticated markets like the US market, for example, they have things that are called REITs, REIT, real estate investment trusts, that also allow you to get exposure to real estate without necessarily going out there and buying a house or whatever, or buying property. So those are the different ways that you would be able to get access to real estate. Thanks for the GGs, Jeff. I appreciate it, bro. Let me see. I'm trying to catch up with the chat. I did both IBKR and JMMB. I'm so lost, but learning too. Just take it one step at a time. For me, I just learned investing over time by actually doing. Anything you don't understand, like Google, the internet, AI, content creators like me exist too. You can watch videos and learn. So that's another option too. You won't get it all in one night, but I would say following my page and watching some of the videos that I do can help out a lot, because I try to explain a lot of the stuff, explain like concepts and how different things work. I try to define the different investment stuff, as well as I try to actually show you how you can set up certain things. So I've made videos about how you can set up the investment accounts, how you can actually go about the buying and selling, how you can actually do things like set up dividend mandates. I try to make videos like that to, make things make sense. And I'm trying to see if I can get the necessary stuff that I need to post stuff on YouTube that can be more hands-on as well. So hopefully that can help too, to kind of show people how to do it. Because when I started too, blank. Never really understand investing. Never really understand anything about personal finances, because remember, we don't really learn much about that stuff in school. So you just have to learn as you go along. The good thing is that you're conscious of it. you know that it exists, you know that you'll need to do it to create wealth in some shape or form, and you're taking steps to actually try to make something happen. Right, that's a good thing. So I wouldn't pressure myself too much. If I were you, just take it a step at a time. Try to learn as you go. What do you think about the unit trust income and growth that JMMB have? So unit trusts are mutual fund products, managed investment products, right? The intention with those is to kind of make investing as easy as possible for persons that want to invest but they don't necessarily have the expertise, they don't have the know-how or knowledge, or maybe they just don't have the time, right? Because what a unit trust or a mutual fund is similar stuff, right? They are managed investment products where an investment manager, so this might be the broker, so say your JMMB or your NCB or whatever, right? The broker, they essentially will set up the portfolio, they'll create the portfolio. It might be one specific asset that they invest in, or it may be a mix of different assets, right? So you have unit trusts that are focused on just real estate, you have unit trusts that do just stocks, as well as you have unit trusts that will do a mixture of different investments, right? Now, if you're a person that wants to invest, but like I said, you don't have the time, don't have the expertise, don't have the knowledge, you don't want to take the risk to go out there and do the research and the analysis and stuff like that, then unit trusts and or mutual funds can be a good investment product for those types of persons, because it makes it easier on you because you don't have to do any of that stuff, right? And what you ultimately invest in, it depends on your goals, your risk tolerance, your time horizon, your financial situation, right? So at all times, you're trying to find an investment that will align to all of those things. So no one investment will work for everybody. It all depends on what you want to do. Typically with those things, what you want to kind of look at is you want to look at what the returns have been like. So usually they will have a section either on their website, or they give you a brochure or a pamphlet or something like that, right? That will show you what their 1 year return is like, 5 years, I think like 6 months, 3 months, I think various different time frames, right? It will show you what the returns have been like over those time frames, so you can analyze that and see if whether or not those returns will work for you, right? Next thing you want to consider too is any fees that are associated with stuff like this. So some of them might have like management fees, or they might take a percentage cut off returns or stuff like that. So you have to have an understanding of what those fees are like, because those things are going to impact your returns in some shape or form. So that's another thing you want to look at, to make sure that you kind of understand what it is that you are getting yourself into, right? So that's another thing I'd say that you have to look at. So want to look at the returns, want to look at the fees and stuff like that. And then of course, whatever investment house or broker or institution is managing your investment, you want to have an idea of who they are, what their track record has been like over the years, stuff like that, right? You want to know who is managing your investment basically. So yeah, but like I said, it depends on the type of investor that you are. If you're the person that just don't have the time to do all of the hard work, then it makes it a lot easier, because it's not for everybody, trust me. Not everybody is going to want to do the research or analysis and stuff like that. Well, go on, MR, bless up. Oh, go on. Can you do a tutorial video on how to sell stock on JMMB app? I think I have that video already, Devron, somewhere on the page. I've made a lot of videos, so it's probably there, maybe outdated in the sense that it might be not as high quality as some of my most recent stuff, but I think a lot of those videos I may have to revisit them in terms of like recreating them with better quality and stuff like that. But I definitely have a video of that somewhere. I know I have one for the JMMB Moneyline app, the website, for JTrader Pro, for the NCB Wealth Connect app, for interactive brokers. I know for certain that I have those ones, because those are the platforms that I use, or some of them. My Emma account have a couple shares in a few companies. How often you think I'm supposed to invest? So investing works best over the long term. So you want to invest as consistently as it is possible and reasonable for you, right? So everybody is different. If you get paid monthly may be good for you. If you get paid fortnightly, you can do it fortnightly. If you get paid weekly or every 2 weeks. You just do it based on what you can afford. There's no one right answer. The important thing though is you want to be consistent. So whatever time frame that you pick that you're going to do it, just make sure that you stay consistent to that, because investing works best over the long term as you build out your positions, as you build your portfolio, as your dollar cost average if your stock goes down, or as you reinvest dividends, you reinvest returns. That is how you're going to be able to grow your portfolio and kind of maximize the returns, maximize the rewards that you'd be able to get from investing. So just do it at whatever frequency is convenient for you, because it varies based on, like I said, what you can afford to do. Is JMMB the best app? Best is relative. It depends on what you prefer. The only apps really, if you're investing locally, the only two brokers that have, well, no, three, because I think Mayberry has one too, but JMMB, Investments, NCB Capital Markets, and Mayberry, they have apps that allow you to buy and sell stocks on the JSE. So it's really just those three. I can't really speak on the Mayberry one because I don't have a brokerage account with them, so I don't have access to that. But both the JMMB Moneyline app and NCB Wealth Connect app, I think they're both pretty good. Of course, there's always room for improvement in terms of improving the apps and the functionalities and other stuff. But yeah, I think both apps are okay. I use both of them and I don't have any problem. So yeah, how can you trade on the US market? You have to open an investment account with a broker that has access to the US market. If you live in Jamaica, probably Interactive Brokers or IBKR might be your only option. That's what I use, at least. I know in the past some persons have used like things like TD Ameritrade and stuff like that, but I don't know how possible that is anymore. But I know IBKR works, Interactive Brokers, that's what I use to invest on the US market. So I have videos on my page about how you can open an investment account to invest via IBKR on the US market, as well as how you buy and sell stocks and crypto and stuff like that through IBKR. So I have various videos about that. Oh, thanks for the follow, Viable. I appreciate you. How to put money in your investment account like NCB? Just direct transfer from another account. Yeah, you can transfer funds. You can get some of your waters in here. Can you get some? Thanks, sir. Oh, watch your make over back here. You just transfer money. So just like how you're able to transfer money between bank accounts, you can transfer money from a bank account at the institution to the investment account at the institution, or from another institution's bank account to that investment account. So it works the same way. You just transfer the money. How you do it with JMMB is when you're adding the account as a transfer account on the other bank's end, you just use the investment account number as the account number, and then choose savings as the account type, and it gets there, like if you're transferring from another bank to them. And then of course, you know that if you have an account with said institution, then you're gonna be able to just transfer funds between the accounts as you would between two bank accounts at the same institution. So hopefully that explains that. Holding period for what Piper investment? It depends on why you invested in it. I've had investments that I've held for a long time that I've invested in from the start and I still hold now in some shape or form, and I've had investments that I buy today and sell tomorrow. It all depends on what you were trying to do when you took that position, right? So you can invest for the long term, which is ideally what you want to do, because that's how you're able to benefit most in most scenarios. Or you can invest in the short term. You can also invest based off of fundamentals, as well as off of technical stuff, right? So it depends on what you're trying to do. Thoughts on Massey? I haven't looked at Massey stock in a while, like a long time, so I don't think I have any real concrete thoughts about them. Bless up yourself, Orion. Oh, bless up, Kerr. Bless up, Kerr. Thanks for joining the live, bro. When is the best time to sell shares? So this kind of all goes back to why you invested in the first place. So depending on what your goal was, your risk tolerance, your time horizon, financial situation, all these different factors
will come together to help you determine what to invest in. Now, let's just $100,000, but right now you only have $50,000, right? Let's say that you know you want to buy this phone within 1 year. You have $50,000, phone costs $100,000. So you know that the phone is your goal. You know that your time horizon is 1 year, right? So you now want to somehow find a way to invest this $50,000 to make enough money to buy the phone that costs $100,000. So right off the bat, you know that the return that you're going to need to get on your money is 100%, right? So you also know what your expected investment return is. So now you know three things. You know your goal, you know your time horizon, you know what your expected return is. Now, you're basically going to have to find an investment that is going to be able to help you to accomplish that. So you might look at different investments. Maybe you look at stocks, or you look at crypto, or you look at a bond, or you look at real estate, or you might look at different stuff, right, to see what fits the goal. Now, let's say you find a stock and you do your research, you do your analysis, you maybe consult a licensed financial advisor, or you just look it up yourself, right? You might say, I think this stock can go up 100% within that time frame, just as an example, right? So you may decide to take a position in said stock because you believe that it can help you to get to your goal. Now, let's say the 1 year passes now and it gets to that $100,000, just as an example. Let's say everything goes right. Then you know that that's the time that you'd sell, because now you're gonna be able to get that $100,000 to go and buy your phone. So now you know that that would be the best time for you to sell. Take your profit, because that's what you came for. You came to make that $50,000. You have it now. So now you can go buy a phone. Let's say you're approaching the 1 year. Let's say that the investment, maybe it hasn't moved, or maybe it won't get to where it needs to be for you to buy the phone on that 1 year anniversary. You might decide to cut the position at that point, whether you sell and recoup the $50,000 if that's the only thing that's there, or maybe let's say it go up a 5,000 or a 10,000. Might not be the amount you wanted, but you realize it's not going to be able to get you there in time. You might choose to sell at that point and then go find something else that can help you to get to that point, right? Let's say, worst case scenario now, let's say that it actually goes down in value or goes down in price, and you're approaching that 1 year that you want to buy the phone on. You might also decide to kind of cut your losses and just exit the position, because maybe there's something else that might be able to recuperate your loss as well as still get you to that goal. Or at the very least, recuperate your loss, and then you find some other way to get that 50,000, right? So that's just a very simple and basic explanation of it. But those scenarios would show you different situations where you may consider to sell, right? So may consider to sell if you reach your goal, may consider to sell if you are not quite there at your goal, but you know that you're not going to be able to make it based on what you set out. Or you might decide to sell to just cut your losses and step away before things get worse. So those would be just some of the reasons. How do you fund your IBKR account? I fund it via a US bank account that I have. So I have a Bank of America account. So that's how I fund it. If you don't have a Bank of America account, or you don't have a bank account in the US, it's going to be a bit more difficult. Wise might be one option. You can use Wise to fund IBKR via like your debit card. So that's one option too. I don't know if it still works because I haven't used it in a while since I have a US bank account, but that's one option too, to do it. It's kind of limited in terms of like ways you can do it. Or you just do like a wire transfer. So you can wire money from your local bank to the investment account as well. It's just that you know that that's going to come at a cost because you have to pay wire fees. I think the last time I checked, they were around like $3,000-4,000, something like that per wire, something like that. I think some institutions charge in USD, so I think for some of them it's like $30 US or something like that. Local institutions, that is. So if you have a local Jamaican bank account, you're probably gonna have to do like a wire if you can't use wires to do it, and you don't have a bank account domiciled in the US. So wire would probably be how you would go about it. Thanks for sharing the live, Noxine. I appreciate you. Thanks. Which you select on NCB if it's JMMB because I'm seeing more than one. What you mean for that? I don't think I understand. Which you select on NCB if it's JMMB. Yeah, I don't understand that. You might have to rephrase it. Easy to sell on NCB Wealth Connect. Yeah, it's pretty easy to do it on both the NCB Wealth Connect app and Moneyline. It's pretty easy. It's like a click of a few buttons to get to the point where you'd be selling and or buying said stock. So it doesn't take long now, and it's pretty easy. It's pretty simple, in my opinion. Where was I in the chat? What's good number of stocks to have per investment? Depends on what you can afford. So ideally, you want to build up your portfolio and build your positions over time. Depending on the nominal price of the stock, like what each unit of stock cost. Obviously, you know that for more expensive stocks, nominal price wise, it's going to cost more to acquire those units. So, give you an example, a stock like Trans Jamaica Highway is like $4 something, right? Whereas you might have other stocks like NCB, which is like $30, or Scotia, that's like $50 JMD per share. So those prices are the nominal price of the stock, right? So it's going to be more expensive to get more units of stock that have a higher nominal price because it just costs more per unit. So that's why I wouldn't say there's a specific number, because $50,000 invested in a stock that say costs $1 per share gonna get you 50,000 units. But for a stock that costs $10 per share, that's gonna be 5,000 units. But it's still the same $50,000 that you have invested. It's just that you have different amounts in terms of units of stock because the nominal price is different. So it's just like if you have $100 and let me use a better example. It's like if you have $10,000, right? Let's say there's a bottle of water that costs $100 and there's a bottle of water that costs $200. You know that you're gonna be able to buy more of the bottle of water that costs $100 with the 10,000 than you'd be able to buy with the one if you're buying the one that costs 200. So yeah, it depends. I wouldn't say there's a good amount of units. Just try to build out your positions over time, because over time it's gonna become a lot more. When I just started, I had like little bit of units of stock, like sometimes even maybe a couple hundred or a couple thousand at most if it's a stock with like a low nominal price. But over time, as I've invested, I've been able to get positions that have hundreds of thousands of units. So it just takes time, and like I said, depends on the nominal price of the stock too. You know about JMD gold coins? Nope, first time hearing about it. Thanks for sharing the live, Chris Slider. I appreciate you, man. You buying cryptos as well, G, or just stocks? I mostly do stock market investing. I have a bit of crypto, but not a lot. I have a little bit of Bitcoin and like Ethereum, but I mostly do stock market investing for now. As I build up my portfolio though and I have like more money to invest in different stuff, then yeah, I plan to diversify in other stuff, like maybe more real estate, maybe more crypto stuff like that. But for now, I just stick to stock market investing primarily. I used Wise. Yeah, Wise is one way you can fund the account. I know I think it might be cheaper to use Wise to fund the account than it is if you're doing like a wire. At least when I used it back in the day, I think it was a bit cheaper. Payoneer could be an option as well. I did use that for a US bank account before, but I heard that it's become a lot more difficult to do that. I don't know how true that is though, because like I said, I haven't used those in a while. How do you check your credit score? I have a few videos on my page about that. You can sign up to myeverydata.com with myeverydata.com, and you can basically access a website where you'll be able to view your credit score in real time, download free credit reports whenever you want, and basically see all your open lines of credit. So That is how I do it, at least. So myeverydata.com. I have a video on my page, so if you go on my account on my profile, you should find it. I think I might have a playlist. I think one of the playlists is called, let me see if I can look at it here. Yeah, one of the playlists is called Credit in Jamaica, and in that playlist, one of the videos will show you how you can sign up for that website to like view and see your credit score, download the free credit reports and stuff like that. So you can probably check out that playlist, watch that video, and it should help you. What you can do too is we have an investing Telegram group. It's a free group, anybody can join. So if you go to the link in my bio and the Beacons link, the Telegram group link is there. So you can join the group as well. If you ask your questions there, it's easier to share like the videos and stuff there too. So you can see how to do it. So that's one option. I'm trying to transfer money from my NCB account to my Emma. However, I'm seeing more than one JMNB. Oh, I get what you mean. What are you trying to do it as though? Like as a bill payment? Because I think when you're adding a payee through NCB, I think the selections are limited in terms of the institutions that are there. I know if you're probably doing like a bill pay, you might see a whole heap of stuff. But I think for when you're just setting up like a transfer beneficiary, I don't think there's a lot of different options. But it should be the one for JMMB Bank, because I think that's what I have mine set up as. When I initially opened my investment account, I used to transfer that way, but now I just have a checking account with them, so I usually just transfer from that account to it. So I usually just transfer from that to like my NCB bank account, then transfer to the investment account, because it gets there instantly from the checking account anyways. But I'd have to probably see the options that are there to tell you which one. The gold coin thing is a scam, by the way. I figured as much. You have to be like super careful with a lot of crypto related stuff these days. A lot of rug pulls and stuff like that are going on, as well as just unscrupulous people that try to take advantage of people. So you have to be very careful. Make sure you do your research. Make sure you understand what it is that you're invested in, because anything you're going to invest in, always make sure that you understand it first before you do anything with your money. Very important. You work very hard for your money, so you shouldn't make it easy for people to take that money from you. So make sure you do your research, make sure you understand what it is that you're investing, make sure you understand the persons or the company or the institution or the people that are behind these things, that are managing, controlling said assets, or that you're purchasing said assets from. So yeah, make sure that you understand what it is you're putting your money in, basically. Use the rag. So you just want to make sure you understand what you're doing. My Everydata account hasn't updated since August for some reason. I realized mine hasn't updated for a while either. I don't think it's that far back though. I think maybe it was like sometime last month was the last time it updated. So I don't know. I don't know the frequency of when they update it, but from time to time, usually every month or so, it normally updates or changes. I guess it all depends on when the data is being reported to them. Because remember, the credit bureaus, they are gathering this information from the various different financial institutions, and I kind of garner that the credit system in Jamaica, even though you know that it's used in every facet of life, because people are regularly getting car loans or mortgages or personal loans or whatever, right? It's not as developed as other places where information is readily available and is more real time, right? I find that there's a big lag in terms of the info. Yeah, I've invested on the S&P 500. I have some ETFs that do that. So I think the ETFs I primarily do are VU and SCHD. But there are tons of other ETFs that you can do that can give you exposure to the S&P 500. Which bank in Jamaica offers the best business bank accounts? I don't think I would really be qualified to tell you, because I've never opened a business bank account before. Usually it's when I'm going to do something that I'll do like the research to determine like where is the best or where is the most convenient or what they're offering. So I haven't had a reason to open a business bank account yet, so I haven't had a reason to like compare them to check. What's the best stock to purchase these days? There's no such thing as a best stock. What you invest in depends on your goals, your risk tolerance, your time horizon, your financial situation, right? So for me, that has a goal that may be 5 years away, the best stock for me might be different from a person that has an investment goal of next month or next year, right? So it varies. It varies. So there isn't a best stock, right? Cause think of it this way. Let's say you live in a place with very, very bad roads. Maybe driving a Ferrari, even though a Ferrari is better than no sir. Even though a Ferrari might be better than a truck, it might not make sense if you live at a place that have a whole heap of pothole. Right? It might not be the most useful thing in that position. So it's like that. It's like that. So you have to kind of find the tool that works for your situation. So no best stock. Just imagine having like a super low sports car and you live like on a country place where there's no paved roads, or just be a bump and hill and gully. It would make like no sense there. It would probably be useless to you, even though it's a multi-million-dollar car. And just the same, it might not make sense to have a vehicle that is suited for off-road travel in like the big city, right? You don't need like big tires that are made to help you climb like mountains and go through valleys and stuff like that. It might not make any sense. Because while it probably would still be able to get you somewhere, it might not be the most optimal thing to get you to that place. That's the best kind of analogy I'd use to make it make sense. Do you have to link the account's current and investment in order to transfer? No, you don't have to link anything. Especially through like JMMB and like NCB, where your investment and banking platforms can basically be viewed on the same platform. Essentially, once you open an account with them, it's just gonna be there. So if you open a checking account with them and you open an investment account with them, JMMB, for example, both of the accounts are there. So when you go to transfer between your accounts, it's just gonna show as an account you can transfer to. Just like if you had like multiple NCB accounts, you know that when you log on to transfer money between your accounts, all of the accounts you have are gonna be there. So you didn't have to do anything. It's just that it's added to your platform. So you wouldn't have to do anything to like link anything. Boy, insufficient funds and I really abandoning it. I've just been very, very busy. Like between work and then like my daughter, and I do like accounting classes in the evenings, Monday through to Thursday. So that takes a lot of time. And the classes are like for like 3 hours or something like that. So that's kind of the reason. And before, when I used to go live, it was mostly at night. So the accounting class kind of take up that period. So it's very difficult. I'm gonna lay down here. So yeah, kind of take up a lot of my time, unfortunately. How do I check when I get paid dividends? So usually when a company declares a dividend, the first place you would usually see a notice is on the Jamaica Stock Exchange's website. Let's say you're investing in stocks on the JSE. I should probably start with that. So if you're investing in stocks on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, right, the central place you're first gonna see dividend notices is on the Jamaica Stock Exchange website. Usually there are 3 dates that is mentioned. They mention a payment date, they mention a record date, and they mention an ex-dividend date. Record date and ex-dividend date are basically the same day now. And you have to own the stock at least 1 trading day before that to be qualified to receive the dividend, right? Or to qualify as a shareholder on file to receive the dividend. Then you're going to have a payment date, which is the date that they will make payment to the investors. So you get the dividend. Where you get the dividend, though, depends on the instructions that you would have provided via what you call a dividend mandate, right? A mandate determines where your proceeds for your dividend go to. So you can set up a mandate for it to pay into your checking account, your savings account, your investment account, and when the payment date comes, the funds are electronically sent to said account. If you do not have a dividend mandate set up, they send you a check in the mail. And you know that 99% of us, we receive mail at a post office. So you know that probably whatever post office your other mail shows up at, that's where your dividend check is going to go. So yeah, like I said, once the company declares a dividend, you'll know. They'll put out a notice. If you go on the Jamaica Stock Exchange's website, you'll see it there. Typically too, these companies will post notice of that too via their website. Usually they have like a investor relations section is what you call it. When you go there, you usually see all news and updates and stuff like that related to the business. That is information that investors need to know. So usually that's posted there, as well as the brokers as well will usually put out notice or information related to said dividends being paid. So for example, I follow a lot of the brokers. I follow all of them on like Instagram, right? And from time to time, NCB Capital Markets or JMMB or Barita, they'll put up a post on their page to say, oh, all of these companies have declared dividends. This is the amount they're paying. This is the dates, record date, ex-dividend date, payment date, etc. They'll usually have like stuff like that they put out as well. And I've seen on occasion too where I get like an email with those like things too. So those are some of the ways that you would know. In terms of checking when you get a dividend, like I said, if you have a mandate set up, you just know that when payment date come, you go into your account. If the mandate is set up to pay into your Scotiabank checking account, and let's say the 6th of October, Monday, you know that when Monday, October 6th come, you go your Scotia account and it's there. You'll see a credit for the dividend. Yes, sir. But yeah. Thanks for becoming a fan, Adrian. I appreciate you. As a beginner, how would you know which stock to choose from if you have an investment goal for 6 months? So that's the thing. Investing usually works better over the long term. I know a lot of persons might say, oh, 6 months is a long time, but in the sense of investing, it isn't really long term. However, some companies are seasonal or are cyclical in nature. So what you find is that for some businesses, they have certain times within the year that they do well, right? So let's say there is a company that sell, all right, let's say like Jamaica Broilers, for example, right? Let's say that every year on Christmas, you know, a lot of people are going to be buying chicken because a lot of cooking usually goes on around Christmas time, right? You might find that JBG or Jamaica Broilers Group, they make more money during that quarter, during that period, right? So you know that during that period, a whole heap of people go to buy chicken, and it's likely that the company as a result is going to report a good quarter. They're going to make a lot of money that quarter, right? So you as the person knowing this and seeing that that happens every year, and maybe over the years you see that when that happens, the stock price might go up, then you know that that might be an investment that can get you that return or help you to meet that investment goal within that period of time, right? Because that 6 months would cover like what, 2 quarters, half of the year, right? So that's one way you could approach it. Another thing too, from like a dividend perspective as well, there are some consistently paying dividend stocks that you know that every year these are the times that they pay dividends. Carreras is a perfect example of this. Them pay dividends every year, 4 times a year, in these specific months or in these specific quarters. And you know from over the years, whenever they declare a dividend, it's usually a good dividend, so a lot of investors rush in to buy up the stock to take advantage of the dividend, hence leading to an increase in the stock price. That can be an opportunity for you as an investor to get into that position to not only capitalize on the dividends, but to also capitalize on the cap gains, right? So that can be another thing. A third thing that you could potentially look at too is what the economic conditions are like right now, and based on trends and what's happening in the market, what is it going to be like in the next 6 months or within the next few months, right? So maybe there's something going on right now in Jamaica that in the next 6 months might be beneficial, or within the next 3 months or whatever might be beneficial to a particular company. So there's this thing, for example, about the whole JPS license not going to be renewed, yada yada yada. I don't remember when they say it's gonna happen, but let's say they gave a specific date, or they gave a specific month, or they gave a specific financial year, or whatever, that you know that that is going to happen. What might be the result of that is that renewable energy companies may be able to gain or profit in some shape or form when that thing happens, right? So you as an investor right now might be able to position yourself where you take a position so that when those things happen, you can benefit or profit from it. No, it's not guaranteed that it's going to happen, but those are just some of the things that you could look at. So just trying to give you some examples of how you could potentially position yourself to profit or benefit from an investment, or to reach your investment goal within a shorter period of time. So hopefully that makes sense. Bless up Kemar, it's been a while, bro. It's been a while. How much to open a gilt edge money market fund with JMB? I don't remember what the minimum is. I think I made a video about this before. I think it's maybe around the $25,000 region, somewhere there, if not less. Because I think for a lot of their products, the opening amount is that. I can probably search real quick and tell you. It's usually around that. I know that that's what it is for like a regular investment account. Money market fund. Let's see if I can see it. I'm trying to see if I can see like a minimum real quick and tell you. But it's somewhere around that minimum. I don't know, I'm not see it readily now what the minimum is. I'd have to find like the circular and probably look through it to see if it shows a minimum, but it should be on their website somewhere. I'm not seeing it. Not seeing it. I know I've made a video about it before, but I can't remember off the top of my head what the specific amount was as the minimum. Yeah, I can't see it here, so I'll probably have to look later. Where was I in the chat? When does the money get utilized from the gilt edge account, or do I have to contact JMB? Utilize in what way? Like when they invest the money? So usually how those things work is when you put money into the unit trust, or when you invest the money, from that very point it's invested in the fund. So from that point onwards, once you actually put the money in the account and you can see that it's there, from that point onwards they would start investing it. It's not like you would put the money in the account and then contact them to say, oh, I deposited the funds. Once you buy into the investment, because what you're doing, when you invest in a unit trust, you're buying units of whatever investment portfolio that they have, right? So they already have an investment portfolio, they already have stuff that they're investing in, you're just buying a portion of what they already have. So they can issue more shares, or more units, I should say, of that portfolio. And then all they do now is that when that money comes in, they just buy more investments and add to that portfolio. But you already get a slice of the cake that they already have. And then, of course, you benefit from whatever is added to that going forward. So that's kind of one of the things, too, that leads to the returns that you're getting. Because think of it this way. You buy the cake, and the size of the cake right now, it's 10 slices, for example. But say down the line, 3 more persons come in, now they have 3 more slices, the cake gets bigger for everybody. So each person that already had a slice, their slice becomes incrementally more. And it also becomes incrementally more too as they make money on that investment. So say invested in a real estate fund and they own one property, and throughout the year they generate enough rental income to maybe purchase another property, just as an example. Now, you still have a portion of that fund or of that unit trust or of that portfolio, but now instead of them having one property, they now have two properties. So now they're going to be able to make even more money. So your returns are going to become more as a result. So it's not like you'd have to contact them to say, oh, I've put the money in there, I want you to invest the money for me. They would just do it naturally. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. Glad that you're going for the official thing now, bro. No joke. I wouldn't say official. I'm doing the accounting class to kind of invest in my knowledge, invest in my education, to make myself a more marketable and well-rounded person, as well as to just gain more insight and knowledge to be able to make better investment decisions. So it's kind of a win-win all around. It's a win-win all around. I think I answered that question earlier, Ree, about the whole 6 months investment goal thing. I had like a whole rant around like maybe 10 minutes ago about it. Thanks for sharing the live quest. I appreciate you. Thanks for the finger hearts. Sit down. I appreciate you. This month makes it a full year now of investing for me. How has that year been for you so far, Kimar? I know that the first year might not be very, very fabulous or amazing, but it gets better over time. Trust me. I know some people that start and they've made a lot of money in the short term. I had somebody the other day that sent me a screenshot of their position in TJH, and I think they're up like 100 or something thousand. And they started like a few months ago. But they were up a good amount of money, and then they were getting dividends and stuff. So I always love to see stuff like that. Because from time to time, persons will message me and share stuff like that with me. It's always good to see. I try build generational wealth, have to start somewhere. That's a true role. You have to start somewhere, and that a lot of people don't understand. In order to get to $1 million, you have to get to 100,000 first. You have to get to 10,000 first. You have to get to 1,000 first, right? You have to start. That is how you're going to be able to create wealth. That is how you're going to be able to build your positions. That is how you're going to be able to get to the point that you need to get to. You can't just instantly go from 0 to 100, right? It takes time. That's why investing works better over the long term. Consistency, patience, and just building up your stuff over time. That's how you're going to be able to get there. Especially if you're somebody that doesn't come from a wealthy background, you don't already have a lot of money. You always hear them say you need money to make money. That is very, very, very true. Very true. Because in order for you to create value, a lot of times, if you don't have some form of skill or talent or something that is very marketable, money is basically going to be the thing that you're going to be able to use to move the needle, right? So some persons might be good footballers, or they might be good singers, or they might be good artists or whatever, right? These might be talents that they're able to monetize. Not everybody necessarily has a talent that they're very good at that they can monetize to make a lot of money from. And it's just the truth, right? You can develop skills. You can get good at things to be able to monetize that, but that in and of itself does require time, does require effort, and in a lot of cases does require money as well. That's why a lot of people go to university. Think about it. You go to university, say, to become a doctor. You're trying to develop your skills in medicine so that you can, in the future, be employable somewhere as a doctor or start your own medical practice, right? Or be able to make money within the medical field. You're not going to be able to get up as a regular person with no medical background, no knowledge, no expertise, nothing to show that you know what you're doing. You're not going to just be able to get up and go and be a doctor, right? You have to develop that skill, or at least you have to have something that shows that you have the skill to do that, right? So that's the thing about it. If you don't have that skill, if you don't have that thing that is very marketable, that will be able to create value for others, money might be the value that you're able to provide, because that gives you capital and with capital, you're able to invest, right? You're able to provide something that can be used to generate a return. Yeah, I know about ETFs, Ja. So what an ETF is, exchange traded funds. It's basically it's a type of investment that allows you, similar to how like unit trusts and mutual funds allow you to invest in a diversified portfolio. An ETF is similar to that. It's just that that investment is tradable on an open market, right? So it also has a fluctuating value, and that fluctuating value, of course, is dependent on how the underlying investments that that ETF or that exchange traded fund tracks performs. So for example, you might have an exchange traded fund that tracks the S&P 500, like VU for example, right? Now, how the price of that ETF fluctuates is dependent on how the S&P 500, or the thing that is tracking, the index that it's tracking, how that performs. So the better those things perform, the more persons will want to take a position in this pool of investments, and is the more the price of said ETF will go up. Yes, what happened? Yeah, so go lie down. No, I don't want to go to Nigeria. No want to go to Nigeria. I have cold already. So me give you the medicine, just lay down here. How could I go about getting started with it? There are no ETFs in Jamaica, so you'd have to invest on a more developed market, like the US market, for example. You can start investing in ETFs on the US market through Interactive Brokers, or IBKR. If you're in Jamaica, it's probably the only brokerage account you're going to be able to set up to invest in the US, because of the various different restrictions for various different reasons on Jamaica and the economy as a whole. You're limited in terms of the brokers you can use. So IBKR is what I use, and it's what most people use, Interactive Brokers. In the past, I know people used to use like TD, Ameritrade, and other stuff like that. I don't know if it's still possible to do that, but that's the broker that I use. I have a few videos on my page about how you can sign up, create the account and everything, and how you can buy and sell and do that. Have JMMB equity account is the mandate already set up. If you open the investment account in the bank, they usually set it up as a part of the process, and you pay like a fee to set up a mandate. So if you open it in the bank, it's already set up. If you opened it online, when I did the whole online account setups and stuff, it didn't really make me do a mandate as a part of that. So I don't know if they've added that to the process now. But if you don't remember, because they do charge a fee for it, so if you don't remember being charged like a fee, I think it's like $200 or something like that, then probably there is no mandate in place. The good thing though is that it's pretty easy to set up a dividend mandate online for free. Through the JCSD's website, you can create an account, you can add your investment account there, and you can set up a dividend mandate online for free. It's pretty easy. I've made a video about how to do that as well. The old school way of doing that too is just like emailing the JCSD to do it. They have like a form you can download on the Jamaica Stock Exchange website. You fill out that form with the required info and you email it to them, and they can add the mandate to your account too. It's kind of the old school way of doing it. Now they have like a whole platform that you can submit your request to do it there. It's very, very easy in my opinion. So you can set up the mandate that way if one doesn't already exist. So hopefully that helps. Cash App, Fidelity, Robinhood, some suggestions, brokers for ETFs. I think the limitation rule might be for persons that live in Jamaica that don't have like a ITIN or a social security number. They probably won't be able to use those platforms, because I believe you need like social security number and or ITIN if you have like a business in the US to create accounts on certain platforms like Fidelity or Robinhood, or even use like Cash App, for example. So that might be the limitation or the restriction for those things. There are places you can do it, but I guess it all depends on if the persons have the stuff that they need to sign up. Yeah, IBKR, Interactive Brokers. If you go on my page, I think I have a playlist for IBKR too. Let me look. I think I have a playlist on TikTok for IBKR that has all the videos I've made related to those things. So yeah, let me see. Oh, I actually don't. What I do have a playlist for is opening accounts, opening investment accounts online, and the IBKR video to open an account with them is in that one. I need to work on. I need to fix up these playlists. But yeah, I have videos basically on the page here that can show you how to sign up to IBKR. It's probably one of the few places that will allow you to sign up as a Jamaican. Yeah, you're welcome anytime. So what's your take on trading? Usually I think when most people say trading, they're usually thinking about short-term stuff like options and other derivatives, short selling and stuff like that. The thing about doing like day trading or short-term trading is it's a lot more difficult because you have to have a deeper understanding of not just technicals but fundamentals as well, right? And that's where a lot of persons are going to fall short because that takes a lot of research, a lot of analysis, a lot of understanding of how to read charts, read macro, microeconomic trends, and how to just spot like different opportunities. It also takes you needing to have like a very high level of risk tolerance, and that is usually the biggest barrier for a lot of people because a lot of people do not have the risk tolerance to kind of engage in that. So that's the problem for a whole heap of people. Like, it's one thing to want to do something, but you have to understand that with high volatile, very volatile or highly volatile investments that kind of go up and down and fluctuate a lot throughout the day, it takes a huge toll on you as the person that is investing in these things, right? Because remember, it's your hard-earned cash that you're investing, and people get very emotional about stuff like that. Even regular stock market investing. I've seen scenarios where people say invest at $10,000 and it go down $1,000 and it's like them stress out. So just imagine if you have hundreds of $1,000s investing or trading or whatever, it's gonna take a larger toll on you if you do not have the risk tolerance. And risk tolerance is something that you just develop over time through investing. I don't think for the vast majority of persons that you just start and have a high level of risk tolerance. You develop it because no matter where you say, no matter what background you're from, no matter how you grow up, the kind of common thing that we all have is that a lot of us don't like to lose. We don't like to lose, especially if it has to do with money or if it has financial repercussions. So yeah. Let's see, where am I? Around 300 to do the mandate, and the representative never told me. Yeah, there's a fee if they do it, but like I said, you can literally do it for free on the JCSD platform. It don't even take long. So yeah, the free options always exist. It's just that if you're opening the account in the bank, they're gonna do it for you and charge you the fee. It's just another way for the institution to make money. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but you can do it for free too. So yeah. All know I can't fund my IBKR account to buy US stocks. We were talking about this earlier. Is either you're gonna fund it through Wise, or if you have a US bank account, or you're gonna have to just do the old-fashioned, probably more expensive way of just doing like a wire transfer. Wire transfer costs money. I think it's like around like $4,000, something like that. Some of the institutions charging like USD and it's like $30, $40 US, something like that. I haven't had to do a wire for a long time, so I don't even remember. But there is a fee associated with that, so yeah. So probably if you're gonna go the wire route, you know that you're probably going to want to wait until you have like a good amount of money that you're going to put into that investment account to do it. Because remember, when you pay the wire fee, that is also going to eat into your profits and or returns. So yeah, there's that. So you want to take that into consideration because that can make or break your investment, right? A lot of persons they kind of fall into that hole where the fees and the taxes and stuff like that kind of eat into your returns. And remember that it's not only those things that you're considering, you're also considering inflation, right? So that's something you're gonna have to factor into your returns. So if you invest and you make 10% on an investment, right? You have to consider the fees and the taxes. You have to consider what inflation rate is, because those take away from technically what your real return is on said investment. When last you look at trading on the JC, I do it from time to time if I see like a short-term opportunity. So I've never actually stopped doing that because, like I said, some stocks are very cyclical, are very seasonal. There are certain trends around certain stuff, like with things like dividends or with certain news and stuff like that. So there are always opportunities on the market. I think I did a video, the video that I did for the weekly best and worst performing stocks. There are quite a few stocks that went up and or down by double digits. So there are always like those opportunities there that you can take advantage of to make a pretty decent amount of profit in the relative short term. Requires a deeper understanding of the market, requires a lot more, I guess, skill, but there's that. There are also some stocks too that have a spread that you can profit from as well too. Spread being the difference between the buy and sell side. So the difference between the highest buy order, lowest sell order. Sometimes there's like a pretty decent spread between stocks. Sometimes even in stocks that aren't very liquid, you have to be very careful with those ones though, because you might not be able to necessarily exit in the time frame that you want to, but those exist too. I'm kind of trying out swing trading right now. Yeah, man. Just practice with it. Like I said, over time you develop the knowledge, the skill. It becomes a lot easier to kind of see those opportunities and profit from them. Probably just start with a small amount of money to like maybe just test out your theory. That's what I did initially. So I'd use like maybe a 10 grand or like a 5 grand to kind of test out my theory or test out what I think would happen, and then I repeat that action over and over, and if I see that it's something that I can consistently do, then I'll take advantage of that. So, then go. So that's something that you can do over time. But you have to be careful with it because, boy, I find that it really helps with your risk tolerance too. It helps you develop that backbone, that spine to take on, I guess, more riskier investments or to tolerate a lot more risk. And I think that's very important with investing because a lot of times investing can be more psychological, more emotional than it is financial, right? In the sense that sometimes you do everything right in terms of the research, the analysis, picking your position, taking your position, building out that position, and then the emotional side of you or the psychological side of you make a mistake, right? Like maybe you sell something when you didn't have to sell something, you take a loss when you didn't really need to take a loss, and it just messes you up. So you have to just be careful. You have to try to separate your emotions from your investment, right? Very hard for a lot of people, like I said, because at the end of the day, it's your hard-earned money that you're investing. So it can be extremely, extremely difficult to separate yourself from that because you have to kind of think realistically. If you work hours and hours and hours to make this money, only to only to lose the money, then it's gonna hurt a lot. And that's just the truth. So you have to just be careful with how you kind of do stuff like that. Yep. Because I know a lot of people. That's why whenever, usually a lot of times, like I would say a good majority of the times when persons message me or reach out to me about investing, they always first ask me about trading, like, oh, do you do trading? And I know when they think about trading, what they think about is somebody that's looking at a computer screen or a screen with like all of these OHLC charts or candlestick charts or whatever, right? And you entering and exiting positions at different points within a short period of time and just cashing out, cashing out, cashing out. Doesn't really work like that, and I think a lot of persons don't really understand that. And that is kind of what leads to a lot of misconceptions where trading and investing and stuff like that is concerned. Because think about it this way, there are big companies, institutional investors, hedge funds, right, in the US that are trying to do the type of thing that a lot of persons want to do, the trading, and they're failing at it. They have all the expertise, they have research analysis, they have people that they literally pay to come in and spend hours and hours and hours a day researching, looking at certain positions, crunching the numbers, crunching the data, and they're still failing at it. So you have to think about it from a logical standpoint. What would make me, as just a regular person, none of these resources, none of these things to be able to beat them at that game? Right? Think about it. Like, the man them over there, literally they build like wires are setting up links to like the stock exchanges there to get data milliseconds before competitors, like milliseconds before them, just so that that can be an advantage. Just think about it. So it's not that you cannot do it to great success. It's not that you can't do it, but you just have to be measured in how you approach it. And I don't like when people have unrealistic expectations of how it's going to work, because what that does is that will deter them from doing anything investment related in the future. Because you come in with unrealistic expectations of how something works, you invest a lot of your money, and because you don't understand how that thing works, you kind of lose all your money, and then it kind of ruins how you approach things going forward. Yeah, that's true. There's risk in everything. There's risk in everything, and you can be successful at it. Every investment carries risk. There is no investment that doesn't carry risk, right? Even your cash in a bank account carries risk. That is why deposit insurance coverage exists, right? JDIC, FDIC, or whatever, if you're living in the US. So everything comes with a risk, but you just have to balance the risk and the reward, and you just have to know what you're getting yourself into. That's the thing about it. You just have to know what you're getting yourself into, and a lot of people have unrealistic expectations of certain things. And it makes sense. It makes sense that they do, because you don't have all the information or all the knowledge, right? So yeah. Yeah, you could say it's a skill issue too. Because like I said, some people just don't have the skill or the expertise to do it. So there's that. There's that as well. So it depends, to each their own. I'm the type of person that is always open to various different types of investments. I might not do a specific type of investment or do a specific thing because maybe it doesn't work for me, but that is what investing is, and that is how personal finances work, right? It's not one size fits all. Everybody can become successful, can become wealthy, can make money doing different things. It just depends on what is suited to your goals, your risk tolerance, your time horizon, your financial situation, right? Because I'm sure for all the persons that maybe it doesn't work for, it does work for other people. It's just the truth. Just like how investing in the stock market might work for me, but it might not work for somebody else. Crypto investments might work for somebody else, might not work for me, or vice versa. Same thing. You just have to find what works for you. But the important thing is that whatever you're investing in has to align with your goals, risk tolerance, time horizon, financial situation. You have to understand what it is that you're doing. That's the important thing at the end of the day. You have to know what it is that you're doing, and it has to help you to get to where you need to go. Because at the end of the day, money, investments, all of these things are just tools, right? They're tools, they're vehicles to get you from point A to point B, to help you to accomplish your goal, to help you to accomplish whatever you want to. If it cannot do that for you, then it's not working for you, and that's just the truth. Yeah, man, teasy, you have to be open-minded in these times, you know. You have to be open-minded. Because If you're not open-minded, if you don't look at all the different things that are available to you, all the different options, chances are you're going to miss out on opportunities. You have to be willing to look at things from the different sides, from the different perspectives. And that's just the truth, man. So that's why I never necessarily say that this not gonna work or that not gonna work, because it depends on the person. It depends on the person. That's the truth. So what doesn't work for me might work for you. What works for you might not work for me, vice versa. So that's kind of my 2 cents about it. But I don't know. Yeah, if you're narrow-minded, it will definitely limit your potential and your opportunities. But anyways, I think I'm gonna end the live for now because it's been like an hour and a half. My voice tired and me tired. So I'm trying to see how best I can get back more consistent with creating content. Trying to see how best I can get back more consistent with going live. I'll try my best. I can't promise, but I'll try. I'll try my best. But yeah, it's been a long time, General. It's been a long time, bro. Like, me try enough time. Me get up and me say me I go do it, and then something else come up or me have to do something, and it just don't really work out. But I'm trying. But again, I'm gonna end things for tonight. So again, thanks to everybody that joined the live. I really appreciate you all. Thanks to all the gifters, everybody that liked the live, shared it out, favorite it. Thanks to everybody basically that was here and spent your time listening to me ramble. I really appreciate you guys. Remember, if you want to learn about investing, personal finance, anything like that, please go ahead and follow the page. Check out some of the videos that we have. Hopefully they can be beneficial and helpful to you. And I just hope you all have a great rest of the night, guys. Take care.